As we enter the second weekend of this conflict, we're going to be looking today at the southern part of Ukraine, in particular, as you were hearing there, about these two ceasefire zones with our defence and security analyst, Michael Clarke. Professor Clarke, tell us a bit about the ceasefire. This doesn't appear to have been successful, does it?
Yes, Ali. A couple of days ago, I said I didn't think the Russians would agree to a humanitarian corridor. I was wrong about that, except that they have agreed to minor corridors. They've never done it before, and it doesn't look as if they're holding. In theory, there's supposed to be a corridor from Mariupol to take out 200,000 people, a corridor from Volnovakha to take out 15,000 people. We think to Zaporizhia. That was the plan. That plan came into operation at 7 o'clock this morning, UK time, but it doesn't seem to be working because neither corridor is open. Both of them have been shelled. It's not clear that they will work or whether this is just a false start.
OK, and if we look at the military advance in the south, it does seem to have been much more successful than in the north. Why is that?
Yes, I mean, the Russians are making a lot more progress in the south, mainly because in Crimea, they've got shorter lines of communication. They've controlled Crimea since 2014. And in fact, they've been planning this, it seems, for quite a long time. So their forces in the south have been able to get going in the way they obviously planned to do, whereas their forces in the north have had a much harder time as they were coming in because they're coming into hostile territory. So in the south, they've had much more success. And this territorial strip now from the separatist regions in the Donbass right through to the edge of Odessa, the port, now looks as if it is consolidating itself, although it's certainly not straightforward.
And they're pushing north too here out of Kherson.
Yes, I mean, the capture of Kherson was quite important. And now in the southern Bug Valley, the river, the southern Bug, which is a very complex series of river systems, they're pushing north. That may take some time, of course, but it's the obvious thing to do as they push westwards towards Odessa. So they'll try and expand northwards, eventually to link up their northern front with the southern front, although they're quite a long way apart at the moment.
And in the north, I mean, we've been talking about this the last few days. It does feel like the military advance has stalled. It hasn't really moved in 4 days.
Yeah, nothing much has happened. There's been a great deal of violence, of course. And the famous convoy, the enormous convoy that is making its way to Kiev, which hasn't moved for 4 days, is a matter of some interest to us all. In fact, there's a very interesting detail. Major General Shukhovsky, who is a two-star general, he was shot in a sniper attack yesterday, along with two other senior officers, a divisional commander and a regimental commander. Those people shouldn't be anywhere near the front line. I mean, Shukhovsky was 4 ranks above the rank of fighting on the front line. The fact that they are on the front line, getting themselves shot, indicates that they're going forward to try to find out what the problem is and obviously have a few choice words with their junior commanders. The fact that they're doing that indicates that they know they've got problems. They're just not moving in the way that they obviously expected to do 10 days ago.
That's very interesting. And to the east of Kyiv, you can see the Russian advances there with that yellow zone. What's happening here and how close is it coming to Kyiv?
They're making their way, but they've got problems at Chernihiv, problems still at Kharkiv, which is being brutalised at the moment. So they've tried to screen those cities by just moving around them. But if you screen a city, you've always got the problem that soldiers in that city will move out and attack. And there's quite a lot of evidence that the Ukrainians are, although they can't mount a counter-offensive in a strategic sense, they can counter-attack locally. And they do seem to be doing that up in the north, and it's slowing the Russians down.
OK, thank you so much, Professor Clarke. So there you go, Jane. You can see in the north it does seem to have stalled somewhat, but that doesn't mean that the Russian advance has stopped. And, of course, Kyiv is surrounded, and that is the ultimate prize for the Russians, Jane.